Hey, this is Ted Wetzel. We've reached the depth now of the solution, spiritually rooted in we. Where are we today? We are in a Buddhist temple. And our friend T.C. Lee invited us to use the temple for this filming. And one of the things I love about the Buddhists is they're totally welcoming of all religions and make no choices about it. Everyone is welcome. Frankly, I think that's true of all religions. At least I hope that's true of all religions. They would welcome all. Our first task today is to distinguish between actually religion and spirituality. So can I say that religion is pretty much the teaching of virtues? And as religions, they help us build society that is virtuous and that knows the difference between vice and virtue. Spirituality, on the other hand, might I say, is about a relationship with the oneness of the world, or a relationship with a God or a deity, relationship with each other for some people. Now, might I also say that a quick solution to our problem, perhaps, is that we need extreme spirituality. We don't need extreme religiosity. Religions, after all, they have their rules. And when you get rigid about rules and extreme about rules, people tend to get hurt. Our history, religions in our history of humankind, have resulted in wars. Frankly, I'm not aware of any spiritual wars. They're mostly religious wars. We like the aspect of religions that teach value to us as adults and to our children. So today we're going to weave a few pieces of the deepest roots, spiritual roots. And as we do that, let's go back to visit secret number 1, where we met Martin Luther King and one of his quotes that say, "Our scientific powers have outrun our spiritual powers. We have guided missiles and misguided men." By misguided men, I believe he meant elite people misguiding the common people, which, by the way, was also who Jesus was quite upset with. The misguided elite leaders. Martin Luther King was not saying that science and spirituality are at odds. They actually put together a very nice puzzle. Science and spirituality complement each other. So this is not about science or spirituality. It's science and spirituality. It's balance. And things tend to get out of balance. We're human. Also, back in Secret 1, we were careful to say that you do not need to believe in my God. You do not need to believe in a God. What in America we do need to believe in is goodwill towards ourselves and towards others. And life, liberty, pursuit of happiness for we the people. And so the 18 plus that worked on the book represent at least 7 faiths, if not 18 faiths, because we all have our individual faiths. In our group, we're represented by atheists, Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindu, and Buddhists. I personally am very fond of a philosophy that was given to me, taught to me decades ago. That is, God is greater. I love the thought that God is greater. It solves so many problems for me. God is greater than what I can conceive of all of the books that I could read, of all of the time that I could spend in contemplation, of all the time I could spend in service to other people. God is also then greater than your conception of God plus my conception of God. God is greater. God is greater than all of the members of this Buddhist temple assembled. God would be greater. God would be greater than all 7 billion people in the world conception of God. We still could not put together a definition of God. So why do we keep thinking that my conception of God is somehow superior to your conception of God? We need each other, and we need relationship then. And this is connected to happiness. How do you make people happier? Nurture your relationships. Here we are in America, unhappy. Why? We're divided. Our relationships are suffering. Maybe you're wondering, I kind of hope you're wondering, how 18 plus people could collaborate on a book and be of like 7 different faiths. It actually wasn't hard at all, frankly. And it boils down to 2 things. We were all of goodwill, and we were all looking for harmony. We all wanted to find a way to make it work. None of the 18 plus people were looking for an escape route. Now, why didn't our founders select a religion? They could have very easily, right? It was most of them had the religion of Christianity. They could have said Christ. They said God. I believe that they knew Christian values, our human values, even though they might not have known a Buddhist person, our Buddhist values, or a Muslim person, our Muslim values. They are core values. They're human values. Now, where we often get stuck is in this relationship between goodwill towards ourselves, goodwill towards others, and this desire for harmony. And where many of us get stuck, me included, at certain times in my life, I don't really believe that I'm worthy of goodwill. And so, it's a little psychological trick. First, to actually acknowledge that in the moment is quite difficult. You only see it in retrospect. But if I'm not happy with myself, the trick psychologically that I play is to then find something to be unhappy about you. And then if I can be unhappy about you, I can think that I am happier because I'm better. It is such a weird psychological trick. Often we fall into a trap of thinking that there's a problem with value systems, flawed value systems, specifically your flawed value systems, and thinking that my value systems are all the rage, all the wonder. How does that work specifically for building we the people? It doesn't work. But remember, we agree on a lot of stuff. And when we look at that oak tree with the roots in common values, we have a lot of common values. And if we think there is a root of disagreement in our core values, we really need to dig for that root and figure it out. Our framers of our Constitution knew that we could not have a monarch. Recall, we just had the War of Independence to leave a monarch. We were not going to enshrine another monarch, whether that's a king or a religion. And I believe they knew that the Spirit is mysterious, but that the Spirit reacts to freedom and to deep meaning, something bigger than ourselves. And our framers, again, did enshrine these core values of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness for we the people. And that since there was not one religion, that we would benefit from a marketplace of religions. A marketplace of religions that are all teaching virtue. Here's the kicker, I think. The whole system is designed to keep power in the hands of we the people, not to let power accumulate, so that conflicts could be resolved and the Constitution expand and evolve over time. Conflict then turns out to be a fuel to propel moving forward. Conflict is rocket fuel for relationships, if we know how to deal with it. So if we get this payoff for relationships, why then do we isolate? Well, partly because relationships are tough. And I believe in America, our culture could use a little improving of how we deal with conflict. And so we're wired to fight or flee. When what we could really use is to get through that urge to fight or flee and seek harmony, seek goodwill, seek understanding. Fight to understand, not fight each other. Fight the demons inside of us. Our ability to overcome conflict is actually the rocket fuel to move beyond the media, the political parties, the big dollar elections that tend to divide us. Those things are in an industry, if you will, of disagreement. They have very little reason to reach agreement. But we, the people, the foundation, can be in the industry of harmony, relationships, agreement, goodwill. We get caught in this web of relationships, and that web can either feel disastrous because there's going to be conflicts, or it can feel liberating because there's going to be conflicts. Depends how we deal with conflicts. That is where the magic actually happens. So do you want to be patriotic? Don't pick up a weapon. Pick up a relationship. Let's have some conflict. Let's fight to understand. Especially fight to understand ourselves, and then fight to understand other people. And that builds we the people in the pursuit of happiness. What the world needs now is not necessarily love, sweet love. What the world needs now is courage and creativity to pursue conflict and burn that fuel to build relationships.